After my wife was hurt, she became restless, even to the point of not being able to eat. Even when I set aside my work to take care of her, she only kept pushing me away. It wasn't until that one night when she got drunk and sent another woman to my bed that things took a strange turn. That way, neither of us can blame the other anymore. I had no choice but to swallow my hurt and silently endure. Little did I know, there was a truth behind this accident that I had no idea about. The headache from the hangover had me reaching for my phone to check the time. That's when a hand pushed the phone into mine. And I looked up to see her standing by the bed, staring at me intensely. Her eyes were as red as if she were watching prey in the dark. Hey, babe, awake. It was my wife. I rubbed my head. Babe, what's wrong with your eyes? Didn't you sleep last night? She didn't answer. Instead, she grabbed her phone and made a call. Hello, I need to report a sexual assault. Her words froze me in place, because just a month ago, she had been sexually assaulted. 10 years ago, and although the perpetrator had been caught, that night had always haunted her. Since then, she'd seen countless therapists, but every time she mentioned that night, she'd lose control, smashing things, yelling at people. Kept asking why we couldn't just leave her pain alone, why we kept triggering her. Eventually, she became anxious, easily startled. Every time she saw me close to another woman, she'd slap me across the face. I knew you hated me. You want a divorce? Want her, don't you? She wasn't wrong. After what happened, I too was responsible. That day, I was stuck at work late. And when I finally stepped outside, I realized it was raining. I wanted to grab a cab, but the line was long. On end, when I asked for an umbrella, every shop was sold out. Some even offered me garbage bags. I refused. I called my wife to come pick me up, but she didn't show up. Instead, I received a call from the police. Her saying she had been dragged into an alley and assaulted. Her emotions were in shambles. I rushed to the police station, clutching a garbage bag. So when my wife said the word sexual assault, I was deeply confused. Babe, you know what's going on. Continuing Maple Leaf Street, Oak Tree Apartments, Unit 304, sexual assault. She actually said my name. I was shocked, completely unable to understand why she would falsely accuse me. I heard it. That's when I heard a faint breathing sound behind me. I turned around and saw another woman lying on the bed, and as she was small in stature, and it was only then I noticed her. At that moment, I finally understood what my wife meant by sexual assault. I jumped up, trying to explain my innocence, grabbing my wife's hand. Her and she looked at me once, turned and locked the door, leaving me with that woman. I tried to wake her up, but she was naked, and I didn't want to look. I intentionally made some noise to her up. Finally, she woke up, her expression as confused as mine. She looked at me and screamed, "Are you? Why am I here?" She grabbed a pillow and threw it at me. I had him accusing me of doing something to her. I tried to calm her down, telling her to think back on what happened last night. But when a woman is in that state, how can she calm down? She yelled at me while asking where I had hidden her clothes. I looked around and saw her clothes scattered on the floor, just as I was about to pick them up when the door opened. Someone reported a crime here. Please come with us. Back at the police station, I was deeply uneasy. Luckily, the evidence showed that nothing had happened between me and the woman. As for why she was in my bed, it seemed she had been drawn into the wrong apartment. After a brief lecture from the police, I asked my wife on the way home, "Why did you say all that? Sexual assault. You've ruined my reputation for life." She glanced at me, and her eyes full of mixed emotions, and then said something that left me stunned. "Because I was the one who did it. That woman, I was the one who put her in your bed." I stared at her, about to ask why. But then the taxi in front of us rear-ended another car, who began to drive it out and began arguing with the other driver. I glanced outside and saw that the car that had been hit was a Mercedes. The other driver swerving maliciously to cause the accident. But that wasn't the important part. The important part was why my wife had the blame for sexual assault on me. Why? I had a sinking feeling, but I needed to hear her say it to break the last bit of hope I had. Because that way, we're even. Who and nobody owes anyone anymore. That line stung, so we'll play Did You Ever Think About the Consequences? She didn't care, and her attention now complete on the argument outside. Of course I know the consequences. But if you loved me, I looked at her, you wouldn't blame me. I lit her, the dim light casting shadows on her face, the red lights reflecting in her eyes, making her words sound even more venomous. On the way home, I didn't speak another word to her. I knew she blamed me for losing her innocence, for making her ashamed to face anyone. But honestly, since the incident, I had never once looked down on her, never showed a hint of impatience. I even kept my distance from all women, and avoided any work gatherings and stayed home to be with her. We lived far from the scene of the incident now. Promised her parent and I had promised I would never divorce her. That incident was an accident, and I felt more sympathy than anything. She was someone I had loved for years, even if she had a difficult temperament now. It was understandable. But last night, that one work-related event which was crucial for my promotion led to her setting this trap. After we got home, I heard my wife change the sheets. I heard her on the phone, the beeping indicating she was making a call. I wasn't interested, so I went to the bathroom to smoke and calm down. After half a pack, Amanda and I still couldn't shake the feeling that my wife had crossed the line. I thought of everything I had done for her, but she didn't consider me at all. Right now, I was at a crucial point for my promotion. I was the only one supporting our family, and we had been married for 2 years with my parents already asking for a child. If I became a department manager, and not only would our lives improve, but the pressure would ease and we could finally talk about having kids. But now, it was all over, and I regretted asking my wife to bring me an umbrella that night. And I was also angry that she had dragged me into such dirty tactics. I still loved Emily, but after everything, I didn't know if I loved her the same way anymore. I emptied the cigarette pack and walked out of the bathroom, and have only to find my wife standing at the door, staring at me with a cold, airy look. Tomorrow my parents would come. I was angry at it, and I think this was something I should tell them. Besides, it wasn't my fault. But my wife said again, if it wasn't for you and owed her, I wouldn't have been assaulted. You owe me. Her words left me cold. If saying that would make her feel better, I wouldn't mind. But I had expected her to try and destroy me. Both our parents yelled at me, and I couldn't even explain myself. When the neighbors asked when the police had come, my wife casually said, "Oh, it's because he sexually assaulted me." My wife was the victim, and everyone naturally sympathized with her. But in her words, and that I was the perpetrator and the world turned against me, everyone advised her to divorce me, calling me scum, nor saying I was zet and fit to live, not fit to stay in the same neighborhood. Even my company suspended me, and I was indefinitely out of work. I became the target of everyone's blame. But my wife, she flipped the script. Now the good woman that I sang that I just made a mistake, that she loved me and that she forgave me. Suddenly our reputations reversed. Even I kept saying it was a misunderstanding. The police could prove it. No one believed me. That they said things don't just happen for no reason. No matter how I explained, it was useless. I asked my wife to explain, but she said she had already been through too much and couldn't handle anymore. I couldn't take it anymore. Enough was enough. And I sat her down and told her she had to publicly apologize or I would sue her for defamation. You air! She stared at me coldly, like looking at a stranger. This was your plan from the beginning. I've tolerated you long enough. If you don't apologize, then I'll divorce you. She froze for a moment, then her face twisted with rage. You're going to divorce me? You seriously want to divorce me? Do you have any idea why I'm like this? I know, and that's why I've put up with you for so long. But you also said we're even now. You don't owe me anything. That one sentence shut her up, so apologize or divorce, your choice. And I walked out the door and headed to my parents' house. Being with her felt suffocating now. My parents thought I was too impulsive. Emily's incident is connected to you too. If you really divorce her, people will talk behind your back. If I stay with her, people will talk behind my back too. My parents sighed, but no one knows what happened. They could see clearly. Apologize. If we divorced, and I'd not only be stuck with the sexual assault charge but also labeled as abandoning my wife, would only get worse. Buy her a gift, a home, and talk to Emily. She's a good kid, she'll understand. No one wants things to get out of hand. My parents were thinking long term. The more people talk, the more they'll start believing. It'll turn, even if it's a lie, it'll turn into the truth. I was deciding to go home that night. Downstairs I saw the crashed Mercedes, and its headlights still broken and the hood dented. The owner must either be broke or not care. And I shrugged, about to leave, when I heard an argument from the other side of the car. Out of curiosity I stopped it. $50. Awoka, no way. A woman's voice said, "Hush. I have the surveillance video from that night. You better think carefully." The man said, "Your husband's being framed, and you're taking advantage of him not knowing the truth. I'll sue you for black video, then I'll take it to the police." Silence. But $50,000 was a lot. Then I couldn't afford it. Then I don't care, either take the money or tell your husband. You've got 3 days. The man scoffed. Honestly, I feel bad for your husband. He has no idea and you've got him wrapped around your finger. None of what a scary woman you want of your business. The last sentence came out in anger, but I wasn't calm anymore because I recognized the woman's voice. It was my wife. Just hearing her, I knew she had been playing me from the start. Never thought for 1 second how deep she dug this hole for me. I watched from the shadows as the man drove off, watching Emily's clenched fist, her face filled with anger as she glared at the direction the car had gone. At that moment, I was surrounded by many questions, all tinged with a hint of jealousy. As a man, I could understand the hidden meanings behind a few simple words. Emily wasn't just randomly assaulted. Her assault wasn't only because I asked her to bring an umbrella, and she had met someone else, someone who clearly had a significant relationship with her. I didn't go home. I tossed the gift I had in the trash. I checked into a nearby motel with her years ago, thinking it was necessary to find the owner of the Mercedes and figure out the full story behind it, especially the video he mentioned, out of which could contain the evidence I needed to clear my name. At dawn, I drove to the alley where my wife had been assaulted, her every street, and I searched everyone I could. Finally, I spotted the familiar car. I asked a local where the owner was, and an old gentleman told me the owner was the fast food restaurant owner across the street. However, he said the shop was in the process of being sold, and it seemed the owner had gotten into some trouble recently. I gave the old gentleman a cigar and continued my questioning. "Do you know what happened?" He shook his head, seemingly sighing. "Heard his son does debt collection work. A while ago they beat up a mentally disabled guy during a collection. The family wants them to pay tens of thousands of dollars. I connected the dots with $50 from last night, and it seemed like things could be settled if I had the right leverage. Do you know where he lives?" The old man glanced at me. He as if afraid of Trent, said, "You'll need to call the number on the shop's lease sign." After he spoke, he hurried away. Likely worried that I was another person looking for trouble. I dialed the number on the sign. And the person on the end quickly picked up, coldly asking what I needed. Munkenhen didn't reveal my purpose right away and asked about the terms of leasing the shop. When the man heard that, his attitude did a complete 180. He quickly agreed to meet in person. He arrived shortly, looking out of breath. At her years ago, with injuries on his face. "Here for the shop?" he asked as he eagerly pulled out the keys to show me the space. I didn't move. "I am here about the surveillance footage," I said. The man seemed to realize something and his eyes narrowed. You're like he could see right through me. "You're the pathetic husband from last night, right?" He introduced himself as Richard. He agreed to show me the footage, but he rubbed his finger, making the implication clear. Since you heard what I said last night, you should know how important this footage is for you. I could pay him $50,000, but I needed to verify the footage's authenticity, and had I wanted to ensure it showed that Emily was at fault. Richard played along, showing me the most incriminating clip. The video of Emily passionately kissing a stranger. They were all over each other, and had the man gripping her by the back of the head, pushing her against the wall, lifting her leg. The video cut off abruptly there. FIY told me that if I wanted at least $70,000 was required. This was based on the value of the footage for me. And it seemed Richard understood how crucial this video was for me. For Emily, it was just proof of her affair, but for me, it was a powerful tool to clear my name. Accusing someone is easy, but proving your innocence is another matter. He knew how to make a deal. I hesitated. $70 was a lot of money for me, and Richard saw my hesitation and told me to think it over, but warned me that if Emily got to the video first, he wouldn't wait for me. I had no choice but to agree. But now that we were negotiating, I had a question for him. Did you crash the car on purpose that night? Richard didn't try to hide it. That was just a provocation, and I wanted Emily to be truly scared. I know everything she's done, but I didn't expect you to catch on, I asked. But does it have anything to do with me? Richard shrugged. As long as I get the money. After parting, I don't care. After parting ways with Richard, I returned home. Emily was unusually kind, making a big spread of food. Watching her eagerly pull out a chair for me, I knew this was the start of her insincere apology dinner. I played along, even as sitting at the table she sat. I even helped her break the ice. Monabor, this is your way of apologizing. He froze for a second before agreeing. Yeah, I know I was extreme with what happened. Or I know I was wrong. Her apology had no sincerity, no remorse, like she was just reading lines. If that's the case, then I had no reason to hold back. I meant a public apology. You think cooking me dinner can clear everything up? Emily, now I lost my because of you, out hated by everyone. Emily turned defensive. I've already apologized, Mike. You want to make our private issues public. So now, it was a private matter. And with me when she framed lies about me being a rapist, did she ever think about me being her family, her husband? If I didn't need evidence to expose her lies, I would have slapped her fake expression off her face right then. If you can't do it, I said go to then divorce me. I said my voice call knew she wouldn't dare divorce me. She still needed the $50,000 from me, and I wasn't going to give it to her. So would she turn to her lover for it instead? Over the next 2 days, Emily started to soften and trying to talk to me, but I kept rebuffing her until the last day when she grew desperate, as planned, and I had Richard begin to pressure her. Unable to get anything from me, Emily finally went to find her lover. From what I followed her and watched as she walked confidently into a restaurant's private room, I couldn't help but laugh. This time, I saw her lover's face clearly. It was Robert, the same Robert who was Emily's first love. I had liked Emily since high school, but she chased after rejected me. Later, Emily started dating Robert, a senior. That's when I gave up hope. 5 years later, Emily and I ended up at the same college, and Robert failed his college entrance exam. They broke up because of the distance. Hometown and as they say, home people stick together. We got closer and eventually reignited the flame of an old love. After confessing again, and this time Emily agreed, and we ended up together after graduation. But when did they reconnect? And I had a feeling the truth was more than I could bear. Had I asked the restaurant manager if he could pull up the surveillance footage from room 501. I left something in there. Could you check if anyone found it? It's worth several $1,000s. When the manager heard several thousand, he immediately instructed his staff to pull up the footage. Soon a clear video appeared on the screen. Out of my wit showed my wife sitting on another man's lap, complaining. She said she was doing this for Robert, for their future. And now she had to beg me to forgive her. If it weren't for the conversation recorded in the video, I would have had no good feelings toward Robert's fine, who needs him? But Richard's actions were truly disgusting. He made me pay $50, and he got away with it much easier than us who had planned for so long. I was anxious as if the truth about to be revealed. Robert looked uneasy too and said, we were careless. We planned to accuse him of rape to create grounds for divorce. But I didn't expect that man to be so incompetent. Emily wrapped her arms around Robert's neck. But what about the problem at hand? And Michael won't pay. Richard is pressuring me. I'm afraid we'll get nothing. Robert paused and asked. Sure, Michael has $500,000. Emily nodded. I saw it in college. I counted the zeros several times. I hadn't expected Emily to know about the $500,000. Even more surprised, he had been after me because of it. But she was wrong. That $500 was a donation I made for Leukemia Children's Fund back in college. Every penny was used to help those in need. No wonder Emily always said I was stingy. She thought I had a fortune. But to me, all I gave her was everything I had. Yet for her, knowing I had that kind of money meant it was never enough. It hurt deeply. And the staff and manager saw everything and asked if I needed a copy of the video. I nodded, my face pale. In the video, Kogan on they continued talking. Make sure you hold my luff, I'll handle Richard. I lay in watching the video over and over again. If we're finally piecing together, if Emily had started getting close to me because of the $500,000, then she probably never really broke up with Robert. Getting work, they had set up a trap, getting me to marry Emily and then using the fault grounds to divorce me so that Emily could get half or even more of my assets. But Emily didn't expect the assault. She feared I'd divorce her and ruin their plan. So she used the same method to reverse the situation and force the outcome in her favor. Unfortunately for them, things didn't go as planned. Now that I had the evidence, the video Richard held was no longer important to me. But since he had helped me, I decided to meet him the next day as planned. But when I arrived, had a police cordon been set up 200 meters away, and they were saying someone had died. I wasn't concerned at first, until someone passed by and gave me a suspicious glance. If you're waiting for the shop owner, don't bother. He's dead. They say he fell from the building. It's tragic. I wonder how his wife and son will manage. I paused. Richard was dead. Stabbert killed him. I staggered home, my mind spinning, only to find Emily happy, humming, clearly in a good mood. I was furious. For years ago, and my eyes burning with rage and my whole body trembling, my expression shocked. What's wrong with you? You look like a ghost. I steady-canted my breath, trying to probe if she knew Richard had died, or someone died yesterday, just by the alley where you were assaulted. halted. Emily's face fell at the mention. What does that have to do with me? She didn't know. That meant it was Robert. I casually mentioned it was the owner of the fast food restaurant, Richard. The name struck her and she looked up at me. I trying to figure out if I knew something or was just speaking randomly. He's dead. What does it matter to me? I asked her how could he have fallen to his death. Emily didn't know. But she would ask the one who thought she knew. I only had to wait for the answers to be revealed. 3 a.m. I hear Emily's bedroom door creak open. What she paces outside my room for what feels like for her, waiting to confer I'm asleep before slipping back to her room to make a call. And I crack open the hidden camera feed I'd set up weeks ago. Robert, did you kill Richard? I can't hear the other end. But Emily's face says it all. How could you send people to corner and threaten him? Now he's dead. We're screwed. Even if you didn't pull the trigger, would the cops trace it back to you? None of us are getting out of this. She pauses. If the police are, then coldly adds, fine. Please come knocking. I'll pin it all on Michael. You're right. A rapist and murderer. And his money's ours once he's locked up. Divorce doesn't even matter now. I'll squeeze that cash out of him soon. Her voice fades. I want to her, my fists clench. I want to burst in and smash their faces. What am I to them? A disposable pawn? Fine. If they want, I'll burn their bridges too. Then rot. I force myself to breathe. Plan Richard's death ties to Robert. He's covered his tracks. And Emily using my love as her golden tick. She deserves best revenge. Play their game. I'll be the shadow. I don't sleep. Imagining their downfall keeps me wired. 8 a.m. Emily knocks. We need a fake sweetness dripping. We need to talk. I open the door. Let's see what lie she's cooked up. I'm pregnant. Wow. She's bold. Or even if it's at even mine. I messed up before, but this baby, can't you forgive me? Tears wobble in her eyes. Oscar Worth at Ortiz was their big plan. Pathetic, but effective. I far along. A month. That night I got scared you'd leave us. I'm so sorry, Michael. She grabs my arm. I shake her off. Should have told you so. You forgive me. Her lip quivers. How could I blame you now? Instantly, her tears vanish. But how can we raise kid with no jobs, no money? She fakes. Maybe I can explain your boss. That girl could clear your name. To eat. I don't know. She knows no company would hire a rapist. Cut on. I've got money. Lie smoothly. Family house sale. And our 500 emergency fund. Her eyes light up like slot machines. 5 mil idiot. I nod. Perfect. She's practically vibrating. I smile. The bait's out. Now it's time to reel in the fish. Days accidentally, and I accidentally the hidden credit card under the matters. 10 minutes later, she's whispering to Rob. They move that night. Emily brings me drugged water. I frink it almost up, but still fade night. They creep in. I jolt awake, screaming. Lucky are you do I eat chas. Robert snarls at Emily. A year said he. You said he was out cold. I feign shock in Emily here. She drops the act. Baby, I never loved you. I was with rape night. You with Robert. You're just her piggy bing lap. Her parents storm in disgust. Emmy, you shame this family gapes. How I invited them. Robert bolts. Straight into waiting cops. Emily begs as he chokes her with a knife. Eckle. Ically watch. Check the blade. Poisoned. He hesitates. Cops tackle. Mom talks Roberting 20 milli 8. Shet lost the baby. Dad hands me divorce papers. Parents apologized. Let's move. This place reeks.